First off, I want to give a shout out to QuestX because he's mentioned it. I think in some of his videos, I know he mentioned it in my comment section, and I agree with him. I kind of have the same theory. We have similar theories as to what's behind Kyrie wanting to leave the Cleveland Cavaliers. Rob Parker on Fox Sports 1 yesterday said something very similar to my theory as well. And what it is this is just a belief. I might be 100% wrong. This is just my belief. I believe that Kyrie Irving found out that LeBron James requested, and may have been repeatedly requesting, that Kyrie Irving be traded for various players. What has been found out is that, incredibly, immediately after they won the 2016 NBA championship, LeBron James requested that Kyrie Irving be traded for Chris Paul. All right. I think, this is just my opinion now, this is me adding speculation onto what has been already speculation, all right? I think that he got this information from the outgoing general manager for the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's what I think. Now, those of you who say that Kyrie is not loyal and ungrateful and all this type of stuff, a lot of you guys, man, who say this shit, man, I sometimes look at your comments on my videos and other people's videos, and I have to say to myself, do these motherfuckers actually read what they say before they post that? Because each one of you guys' screen name and avatar should be right next listed to the word hypocrites in the dictionary. Because loyalty and LeBron do not synchronize. Okay? And I know it's hard to take off your LeBron lover / LeBron tard hat, and I get it, man. I've been a fanboy when I was a teenager. I was a Jordan fanboy. I told you guys that. Ever since day one, when I was a teenager, I was a Michael Jordan fanboy. But never to the extent where I couldn't criticize Michael. Okay? Like I've said before, his last year in the NBA, his last year with the Chicago Bulls, Jordan used to frustrate me because he was starting to turn to a shot jacker. He was starting to actually take bad shots. Anybody that remember watching Michael in his prime, he rarely took bad shots. Rarely. Now, all of a sudden, Michael was starting to take bad shots. He was starting to look like Kobe. Even though this is before Kobe, Kobe was in the league, but you guys know what I mean. This is before Kobe became Kobe. He was starting to take bad shots. And I remember, saying, I said this in the video before, God damn it, Michael, stop shooting so fucking much. Give the ball to Scotty or something. It's not your night. But you guys are so fanboyish at times that y'all can't criticize LeBron on anything. So, let me say this. Just try to look at it from Kyrie's perspective just one time. Just sit back, move away from LeBron, and listen to Kyrie's point of view, and just listen to him. Listen to me, really, describe Kyrie's point of view. LeBron James famously or infamously left the Cleveland Cavaliers for the Miami Heat with the decision, which he and ESPN chose to make a big spectacle out of it, okay? This destroyed Cleveland Cavalier fans, okay? Remember they was burning his jerseys and all this type shit, right? So for a long time, he was the most hated man in Cleveland. He was the golden boy for 7 years. LeBron James was from Akron, Ohio, played for nearby Cleveland, okay? The golden boy. And he left and became the most hated man in the NBA for 1 year, LeBron. Slowly the hate subsided. Cleveland was a laughingstock. Not only did they lose LeBron, they lost their best center in franchise history, probably. Because you got to take the fact that Doherty career was cut short with back injuries. Doherty was a better player, but Ilgauskas has longevity. So he's either the first or second best center, but he took him with him in Miami. It was Jonas Ilgauskas. Okay. The coach got fired, Mike Brown, who was the coach of the year, but he got fired. Most of the coaching staff, I think, was dismantled. Many of the best remaining players were injured for huge portions of the season, and they only won 17 goddamn games. They had a 26-game losing streak during that season. I remember the first game Miami played against Cleveland. I think it was in Cleveland. LeBron dropped 38 points in 3 quarters, and they destroyed Cleveland. And they kept booing him every time he got the basketball. That very offseason, Cleveland is just still in disarray. It's like an F5 tornado hit Cleveland when LeBron made his decision, right? And then there's a small glimmer, a small rainbow after that horrific storm. You see a rainbow in the horizon, and it's the draft. And me knowing the draft is rigged, by the way, I said Cleveland's going to get the first pick in the draft. They're going to get Kyrie Irving. And that's what they did. They got Kyrie Irving. You didn't hear me say the draft was rigged, but, whatever. But they still they weren't good. They only improved 4 wins. I think they went 21-45 or something like that. That was the year that the league was shortened to 66 games because of the lockout. I think it was 2010, 2011. Let me think about that. Was it 2010, 2011, or was it the next year? No. 2010, 2011 was the year after when they only won 17 games. 2011, 2012 was the draft shortened, the year where they only played 66 games because of lockout. But they went 21-45. Okay, it didn't look that good. But Kyrie Irving playing in the shadow of LeBron James was just, he had these huge shoes to fill and try to fill his void as best he could. He's not LeBron James, but he's a very talented basketball player. And he shows that individually he's a very good basketball player, but for the next couple of seasons, he's playing on a team with very little talent around him. But there's promise, okay? For the next couple of years, Cleveland has these drafts where they're getting talent, okay? One of those years they got Wiggins. And Miami is doing what they're doing, going to the finals, winning a couple championships. But by 2014, the writing's on the wall that Dwayne Wade isn't the guy that he once was, okay? Chris Bosh is starting to have some, I think that was the year he might have started having some health issues or some injury issues, whatever. But really mainly Wade. LeBron James senses this. He can see that his relationship with Pat Riley is starting to deteriorate too. And he sees what's going on in Cleveland. So, back home he goes. he's welcomed back with open arms. Kyrie has become something of a second thought, an afterthought with most Cleveland Cavaliers fans because the king is back. Despite the fact that he broke their hearts years earlier, all is forgiven now. Okay, they make some accommodations for LeBron. They trade away some players, maybe some people that Kyrie had grown fond of, but it's a business, right? So they go to the NBA Finals. The first time they lose to the Golden State Warriors, Kyrie and Kevin Love were injured. I'm pretty sure this pretty much destroyed Kyrie as a competitor. And the very next year, they go against a historically great Warriors team. And Kyrie Irving puts on an absolute show the last 3 or 4 games of that final series. Okay? Yes, LeBron James was magnificent too. He was. But Kyrie Irving was sensational. I think he had like 2 40-point games in that stretch, like 36, 34, 37. I mean, he was just destroying Stephen Curry one-on-one to the point where they had to have guys give him help, like Andre Iguodala or Draymond Green, and he still was scoring against these guys. I remember one defender play where he had broken into defense, got it to the post, and I think he had beaten Curry. Draymond came over to help, try to go for the block, didn't get it, and and Kyrie Irving bank shot the shot in. I mean, he was just looking like prime, peak, like locked in Isaiah Thomas, and not the one in Boston. And this is the guy. Don't get me wrong. The block was sensational, but that wasn't the championship play. The championship play was Kyrie hitting that shot over Stephen Curry. And then afterwards, the team was the championship. But all the praise is going to LeBron. It's not shared. It's LeBron. And then you think about how hard and how well you played in that finals. And then you find out that right afterward, a championship that they would not have won without your stellar play. And you find out that this teammate of yours, this guy who you put trust in, had asked for you to be traded for his friend. Now, I understand the NBA is a business, but at the same time, the business aspect goes with management, okay? They trade you, it's hurtful, but it's business. Teammate-wise, there has to be some type of human level, trust level. And for him to find that out, if this is true, and it's an if, but if that's true, what Rob Parker has said, and what I speculated, and what Questlove, not Questlove, QuestX, my bad, think about the roots and shit. If what we're saying is true, then I would be really, 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 really ticked off as well. So Kyrie requesting a trade is like, okay, you know what? I know what LeBron's going to do. He's going to do what he always does. When things go south, he's going to bolt. He's not committing after 2018. He's going to leave me with this sorry-ass club. I'm going to do one of his numbers. I want to be traded now. I've read that Kyrie's not returning the Cavaliers' phone calls. He's done. He's done. He's mentally done. He probably feels like, you know what? I don't get any credit for anything. It's all about LeBron. No matter how well I play, I'm always going to be in this guy's shadow. And I don't get credit for anything. That's how I think he feels right now. All right? Scottie Pippen was kind of going through this back in 1993-94. Okay, all of us Chicago Bulls fans remember when Scottie Pippen removed himself from that play against the New York Knicks when Tony Kukoc actually did get the game winner, hit the game winner. So it might have been the correct play that Phil Jackson set up. But Scottie Pippen felt really insulted that the final offensive play wasn't called for him. Having played in the shadow of Michael Jordan for so long, since 1987, and he had to prove himself to be a all-star caliber player. By 1991, he achieved that. And they won three straight championships, and Michael Jordan retires. And the onus is on Scottie Pippen to be the man. And for that 2-year stretch, in my opinion, now I understand certain Olajuwon fans will say that he was the best overall player, all-around player. But I think for that 2-year stretch, Scottie Pippen was the best all-around player in the NBA. I'm not saying he was the best player, but best all-around player, I think it was Scottie Pippen. But Scottie Pippen felt really betrayed by that. Now, when Scottie Pippen, when Michael Jordan came out of retirement, Scottie Pippen may have felt certain ways. He might have felt a little uneasy. The king is back, Jordan's back. But you know what? I've said this before in some other videos. Michael made a conscious effort to defer to Scottie more. Michael's role changed on that team too, in my opinion, out of respect for Scottie. Michael used to dominate the back. If you look at Michael Jordan, I'm trying to educate some of you guys about Michael Jordan, right? They're real young. If you look at Michael Jordan in the 1980s, right, you will notice how much he dominated the basketball. He dominated. He always had in his hands. Sometimes he'd bring the ball up, one-on-one, dribble, shoot. He didn't over-dribble like most players do now, but he had the ball in his hands a lot. When he started playing with Scottie Pippen, Pippen emerged, he learned how to play more off the ball. Okay? To the point where when he came back for that three-peat, I would say, and this is just from watching, Scottie actually had the basketball in his hands more than Michael did in that last three-peat. Scottie probably had the basketball more. Jordan's role on that team on offense was just to score, but he didn't hold the basketball, which is why I always enjoyed watching him play, especially the first 2 years. Now, that last year when Scottie was injured, Michael had to kind of play on the ball more, and he had to be a playmaker too. And at age 34, going on 35, he was really rusty, and he wasn't used to doing that. He hadn't done that in years. So the Bulls kind of struggled because Michael kind of had to readjust to that role. But the point is, Michael deferred to Scottie. He was much more willing to share credit with Scottie. And he showed him what was the most important thing that a star player should show another star player: respect. And LeBron has failed to do that with Kyrie, and this is what's going on right now. That's just my opinion. Tell me what you guys think.